I moved to Next Gen just over 2 years ago. I'd kind of at that point, I'd had coaches who weren't professional coaches. There were guys who were doing the kind of 40, 50 hours a week at work, and then maybe as a hobby, they'd run a couple of classes in the evening. And you just can't. That's not to say it's their fault, but you can't train under a coach um, who's coaching is a hobby. No, it just can't be like that. You need guys there who are professional coaches who do it day in, day out, who, if they're not in the gym, they're home watching it on YouTube or absorbing all the new information all the time. And then I came off, I lost to Mark Madsen in Denmark, where I'd broke my jaw and broke both feet in that fight. And then when I came back, I fought Madas Fleminas and lost that fight. So I'd come off. I was on a 2-fight losing streak at the time. And so I kind of figured that I needed to make some kind of change, and the change was to go to Next Gen. And that obviously has been a big thing in my career, that I've won kind of the last maybe 6 out of 7 fights or something like that. So it was definitely a good decision.
Yeah. Do you feel then that like the more professional environment, like you were saying in Next Gen, with the more professional coaches, like obviously breeds like more professional fighters? Is that fair to say?
Definitely. Yeah, and it's not even more so that the coaches spent more time with me or anything like that. It was, you are surrounded by teammates who are higher level. And then, of course, you're getting the coaching on top of that, which is dribbling down to everyone. The spars are competitive, the rolling's competitive, the wrestling, it is very competitive. I always say in these kind of podcasts that everybody who's in the professional classes in the morning, whether it's the top amateur fighters or it's the pros like Paddy, Ben Kelly, and Nathan Fletcher or whatever, every one of these guys wants to go to the UFC. It's not a case of they're not training because they enjoy it, even though I'm sure they do. They're not doing it because they want to fight on the domestic scene. They're doing it because they want to go to the UFC. So that kind of competitive atmosphere really does make top world class fighters. I think the next year I've had 3 UFC fighters now. Paddy's signed up, and they've had 4 world champions, and there's obviously something that next year they're doing right, and I'm sure they're going to go from strength to strength as well.
Yeah, there's so many great lads coming out of there at the minute. Like you said, just naming a few. There's Adam Cullen is someone else I've spoken to recently. There's so many great lads coming out of there.
Adam's going to be a real problem in terms of the guys at lightweight. His wrestling is so good. I'm sure he told you he had a background in wrestling before he went to MMA. So with Nathan Fletcher, he's one of his best friends. I do feel kind of maybe 2, 3, 4 years or something like that, you're going to have another 3, 4 guys out of Next Gen who are going to be in the UFC. I really do believe that. Hopefully, I'll be one of them. But you can see from Cage Warriors, may not be the UFC or anything like that, but the top European fighters are in Cage Warriors if they've not been signed up to the UFC yet. And then you see guys like maybe Nathan Fletcher who are just running through guys that they're making look super easy. Liam Gittins is the same.
He's just looking unstoppable at the minute, isn't he, Nathan?
Yeah, he is, and he's kind of the thing that kind of you think of Nathan finishes and he's choking everybody out with a rear naked choke, and you think, well, so what? A rear naked choke is I guess the most basic submission, really. If you go up to 10 people in the street and you say name a submission, they're gonna do some kind of rear naked choke. But the idea being, though, is that all of Nathan Fletcher's opponents know that's what his goal is. They know all the way through the training camp that they need to defend the rear naked choke. Again, top European fighters, and Nathan's going in there and still being able to put the choke on. Brian Boulan was, very highly regarded, and Nathan Fletcher made it just look super, super easy. So, if Nathan Fletcher's not competing for a Cage Warriors World title in his next fight, I'd be very shocked.